YouTube? It's your boy Dan, aka aDrive. I brought you guys a pretty awesome Pokemon video today. Today we're going to be talking about Gorochu, which is the never revealed Pikachu and Raichu evolution that never actually came to fruition in the Pokemon games. A recent interview with some of the main designers from the original 151 Pokemon, Ken Sugimori, Atsuko Nishida, and Koji Nishino, they got together to talk about Pikachu and a bunch of different things related to Pokemon, including some other designs like Snorlax and stuff like that. And it actually turns out that there was supposed to be another Pikachu evolution called Gorochu, which is really cool. I thought that was super duper interesting. I noticed this article a couple days ago on Reddit, and then it was picked up on Twitter, and it's kind of spread a little bit from there. But as a Pokemon fan, I think it's super cool to find out that Pikachu was intended to have a second evolution, or a second stage evolution. So it would have went Pikachu, Raichu, Gorochu, which is pretty cool. So I'll show you guys a little bit about it. We'll talk about the interview here briefly, and of course all the links are in the description if you want to check them out. But this is super cool in my opinion. So I guess the idea was they wanted to create like a really cute looking electric type Pokemon. That was kind of the basis for Pikachu, and they brought in Nishida to kind of design this electric type Pokemon with two evolutions. So it was supposed to initially evolve twice, essentially into Raichu and then Gorochu. It's funny because the original kind of design was based on this like rice cake type of deal going on here. That was what the idea was, and there was a lot of inspiration taken from squirrels. Nishida mentioned that they always wanted to have like a pet squirrel when they were little. So Pikachu's design is actually more so based on a squirrel than a mouse, at least initially. And then of course a lot of the features were added on. They mentioned in this interview that like the tail, the little stripe on the tail was just added so the back sprite wasn't bare, and then they had the cheeks. They, instead of storing like nuts and food in their cheeks like squirrels do, it was more about storing electricity in the cheeks. So they made various revisions to Pikachu over time as they were developing it to kind of make it that cuter Pokemon. But one of the coolest things about this interview that I found super interesting is this part right here. Pikachu in the original games in Pokemon Red and Blue and Green and Yellow, even so, well, not so much Yellow because it's your starter, but at least in Red and Blue and Green, Pikachu is really rare. You go to Viridian Forest, and I think it's a 5% encounter. It's probably one of the rarer Pokemon in the original games. Maybe even, I think it's 5% though. So it's a really rare Pokemon initially, and generally Pikachu's pretty rare throughout the series. And the reason they did that is because they kind of wanted to hide Pikachu. Nishino mentions that they wanted to hide Pikachu so that way other people couldn't find it, because they wanted to cherish Pikachu themselves. And of course, it actually worked out the complete opposite way. Because Pikachu was rare, it became this highly coveted Pokemon, and almost everyone who played the original games wanted to get a Pikachu to have that awesome electric mouse type Pokemon on their team, or should I say electric squirrel type Pokemon. Pretty interesting. So you can see here they put the appearance rate lower, players wouldn't be able to catch it, and then the opposite actually happened. Everyone talked about getting a Pikachu, so that's kind of funny. They talk about here about how it didn't originally have cheek pouches. They added them because they wanted to give it a sense of charging on its cheek, and then the dark ear tips was actually based on the rice cake. It was yellow because, you know, I guess the electric type color, they wanted to kind of associate it with being an electric type, so that was pretty easy there. But here they talk about Gorochu, which is super cool. So it was originally Pikachu, Raichu, and Gorochu. The Pokemon known as Gorochu bared fangs and even had a pair of horns. Rai comes from the Japanese word thunder, and Goro comes from Goro Goro, the Japanese onomatopoeia for rumbling, usually used in the context of thunder. So you can kind of get some information here. I've got Emdy, who's an awesome artist that I follow on Twitter, and he actually put out this cool image of Gorochu here. I'll put his information in the description below if you want to check out his art. He draws a lot of really cool stuff. But this is kind of his thoughts and his take on Gorochu, an evolution of Raichu. So you see it gains those fangs, it's got those horns, and perhaps it's based off of Raijin, which is the Japanese god of thunder. So they definitely took some inspiration there, where you can see this dude has these pretty intense horns and has these fangs. So they kind of took that inspiration from those, and that was where the original Raichu evolution Gorochu was gonna come into place. But they took it out, and they actually mentioned that they right here, Sugimori mentions it, they took it out because of game balancing reasons, which I found pretty interesting. I don't think Raichu was like OP in Gen 1, but you know, I think the focus was supposed to be on Pikachu, and obviously throughout the anime, they really didn't focus on Raichu a ton with, you know, Pikachu rejecting that Thunderstone. But it's interesting to think that maybe Pikachu would have evolved by level up, and then Gorochu actually would have came to fruition through use of that Thunderstone. So just really crazy stuff to think about there. You know, they talk about Pikachu's first reception with the company, and Pikachu was very popular in terms of the different Pokemon, and obviously became a very popular Pokemon, the most recognizable Pokemon in the world. So that's really cool. There's also a lot of other cool stuff here. They talk a little bit about Clefairy. So Pikachu is a one and only, and then they talk about, you know, Nishino mentions other Pokemon getting attention like Clefairy, and it was actually, Clefairy was kind of supposed to be the, kind of the center stage initially, as far as I remember, but they ended up, you know, nixing Clefairy and saying, you know, Pikachu should be our main kind of focus, and it ended up working out as Pokemon is one of the biggest franchises in the world. Here we are 20 plus years later. So I thought this was super duper cool, guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Would you like to have a Gorochu on your team, or are you gonna just stick to Pikachu and Raichu? Like the video if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you're new as I post Pokemon videos every single day. My name is Dan, I also go by aDrive. I'll catch you guys next time. Peace. Thanks so much for checking out my last video. If you like that one, you'll definitely like this one, and be sure to subscribe for more as I post Pokemon videos every single day.